Okay, have you ever felt that weird sense of nothing when your birthday rolls around? Like you find yourself totally out of step with all the big celebrations everyone else seems to love. Well, if that's you, then you're in the right place. Today, we're going to dig into why that feeling isn't some kind of flaw, but it might actually be a hidden strength. Does that just hit you right where you live? You know that feeling, right? The world expects you to want all the confetti and cake, but honestly, you're perfectly happy just sticking to your normal routine.
If you're nodding your head right now, you're going to want to stick around. We are about to dive into the psychology behind this whole thing. And I think you're going to be pretty surprised to find out it might just point to a major personal strength.
All right, first up, let's talk about what we can call the birthday paradox. This is all about that fundamental clash, the one between these huge social expectations around birthdays and what's actually going on inside your head.
I mean, look at this. It's like two totally different worlds, right? On one side, you've got the social script, the public spotlight, these grand gestures, and let's be honest, a bit of a social performance. But for so many of us, the reality is the exact opposite. We'd rather have some quiet reflection, a few meaningful moments, or maybe it just feels like any other day. And because there's that huge gap, the default assumption from pretty much everyone else, and hey, maybe even from you sometimes, is that this has to be a negative thing. People might think you're being cold, or that you're secretly sad about it, or that you just don't like people.
But let's just challenge that for a second. What if that whole story is wrong? What if this feeling isn't a flaw? What if it's a feature? What if it points to something way deeper and frankly, a lot more powerful about how you're wired?
And that brings us to the real heart of it. This feeling isn't about being cold, it's about being autonomous. So let's get into the psychology that actually explains all of this. Turns out there's a psychological term for this. It's called low social dependency, and it's actually pretty simple. It just means that your own self-worth and your happiness aren't constantly running on fuel from the outside world. You don't need a ton of social validation to feel good. Your sense of value, it comes from within. So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it means you really value your own opinion of yourself. That's that internal validation. It means you would much rather have a real moment of genuine reflection than put on some big show for other people. And it means you're just less worried about what society expects because you find fulfillment on your own terms. This brings us to a really key choice that people with this trait are making a lot of times without even realizing it. They are consistently choosing reflection over performance. And really, what that is choosing authenticity over obligation. Let's just break this down. A social performance is all about pleasing other people. The emotion is kind of staged for an audience, and the ultimate goal is to get that external validation. But quiet reflection, man, that's driven by something completely different. The focus shifts to what's personally meaningful, and the goal isn't validation from others, it's self-awareness. Now, this is so important to get. This is not about being antisocial or trying to avoid the people you love. Not at all. It's about avoiding that inauthentic pressure to perform for them. It's like this quiet little rebellion against doing things just because you feel like you're supposed to.
Okay, this all leads us to the final and I think the most empowering part of this whole thing. It is time to talk about the self-aware brain and completely reframe that feeling of indifference into what it really is, a strength.
This right here. This is the main takeaway. That feeling you have, it isn't apathy, it's not indifference. It is psychological independence, period. So why is your quiet birthday a strength? Let's be really clear. 1, it's a huge sign of high self-awareness. You know who you are and you know what you actually need. 2, it shows you prioritize internal validation. Your own assessment of yourself matters more than what anyone else thinks. And finally, it reflects this deep, incredible sense of psychological autonomy. You are in the driver's seat of your own well-being. Remember that line from the very beginning? Here's why your brain is actually more self-aware than theirs. Now look, this isn't about feeling superior or being better than anyone, but it is about finally recognizing that your quiet approach comes from a place of deep self-reliance, not some kind of social deficit. So I'm going to leave you with one last thought to chew on. If you're someone who doesn't need one specific, socially required day to feel seen or to feel valued, what does that say about how you experience all the other days of the year? Maybe feeling special isn't a once-a-year event for you. Maybe it's just a quiet, constant state of being. Think about that.